This is Bad Movies We Love, part of the Shice Podcast Network.
If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.
Hello, Bad Movie lovers, and welcome to the Bad Movies We Love Christmas special. I'm your host, Nick Scheist.
The master of the stupid stuff!
And we do indeed have some stupid stuff on deck for you today, but rather than the whole usual shebang, I mainly just want to say thanks for being part of the show. I know the holidays can be a difficult time of year for many, and if I can inject even a little bit of laughter and brighten someone's day a tiny bit, it's well worth it. If you're feeling the holiday spirit, even a little bit, I just ask that you take a quick moment to go to the pod page wherever you're listening and leave a rating and a review. It only takes a couple of minutes, but it actually does a ton in helping support the show. But without further ado, let's get into the 2025 Christmas special. I was joined again by my Christmas cohort, Scott Cole, to have a little NicVember Christmas with George Gallo's Trapped in Paradise from 1994.
I'm just saying, something smells good. Nothing better than that smell in the whole wide world.
We got to be in a real situation here. I just robbed these people. I don't want to get to know them, all right?
Scott, welcome to the show, man. Well, welcome back to the show, I should say.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. I was here a year ago for Christmas, actually doing not a 1994 movie, which is odd for me. We were doing the 93, so pretty far off, right?
Well, we had to rectify that and bring you back for a 94.
Right. So I'm like, I guess I'll go back to start covering my 94 movies. It's good to be back talking about some old movies that I vaguely remember from childhood.
Well, this is the Christmas special. So it's kind of like a little bonus NicVember episode here in December, and what better time to do it than for Christmas? And this will be released, I think, on Christmas itself rather than the Monday before Christmas. So if you're listening to this, just know that we recorded this not on Christmas morning.
Yeah. We unwrapped our presents and jumped on mic.
Hey, you know what? Who knows what the future holds? It could be something like that. But yeah, we're talking about Trapped in Paradise from 1994, which made my list of like Christmas movies that most people don't watch a couple years ago. And watching it last night, I was like, I know all the sort of plot points and I know the beats, and I'm like pretty sure that I've seen this movie. And then even sort of a couple of the things where I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to happen at this point. It happens. I'm like, so I've definitely seen the movie. I just can't really remember when the last time I saw it was. So what about you? Is this something that is like in the Christmas rotation for you on a regular basis?
Not at all. I remember seeing it in the theater when I was a kid, but don't remember anything specifically about it. I know that, so this was 94 Christmas. I would have been 9. And at this point, I was pretty much making my parents take me to anything that was PG 13 and under in the theater. We would just go see anything, especially comedies, because I couldn't watch R-rated stuff. And I wanted to see a lot of movies. So I would just make them take me to all this stuff. And I remember going to see this, but I have no memory of what it was or what it was about. I don't remember anything like that, but I definitely saw it. I don't think it made a huge impact on me. The reason why I know that is because most movies that I kind of liked around that time, I would want to buy them on VHS as soon as that became available. And I didn't care anything about owning this movie. So I think that tells me that when I was a kid, I probably wasn't too into it. But watching it now, I am like, it's interesting this doesn't ever get talked about in terms of Christmas, because there aren't a whole lot of movies that give you the vibe that this movie gives you, which I think is what a lot of people are looking for in a Christmas movie, in a way, I guess. At least aesthetically, snow and trees and
yeah. And honestly, I mean, I feel like it's probably a better portrayal of like the Christmas spirit in action than we see in a lot of Christmas movies where, I mean, like it's usually centered around family, which this one is too, but everything's just like a little bit off here. And to sort of make the main characters be a trio of like crooks is a challenge, but it's a challenge that I feel like the movie overcomes well enough. Like, given the setup and where we see them start and how they interact with the townspeople and where the movie ends, I'm like, it doesn't feel like it wasn't earned. I'm like, yes, it has to be sort of wrapped up in less than 2 hours, and it's not going to be like, oh, Trapped in Paradise 2, this is like the real redemption arc. That's not going to happen. So I felt like it was good, though. I mean, I don't know. I kind of watched it and was like, maybe this should be in the Christmas rotation for the future.
Yeah. I'm not going to watch it again. But I will say, I don't think it's good or successful. But I will say there were a couple of scenes in it that I laughed pretty harder than I would say a lot of comedies I've seen that like have come out recently. So we can talk about those. There's a couple of very funny scenes to me. They're all front loaded. I feel like this movie starts out rough, gets kind of funny, and then it just kind of sputters to the end for me. Like it's really that last hour. And you mentioned the time. Why is this movie nearly 2 hours long? I'm like, this movie has 88 minutes written all over it. Like, why is this movie almost 2 hours? Because you really feel that time, I think, in the second hour, because they have to keep, finding ways to get them to almost leave the town. Oh, no, they're back. Then almost leave. Then they're back. It's just, and the movie collects a lot of side characters. Too many people after them, I would say. Just in general, you got 3 groups of people coming after them at all times. I don't know. I'm getting off topic, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be in my Christmas rotation, but I will say there is one specific section that I find funny, and we can get into that if you want.
Okay. Well, weren't you the one who brought this movie up in the first place?
I may have said there's a Christmas movie from 94 that would probably qualify because it's not supposed to be great.
So you mentioned this a year ago. Yeah. And now I'm holding you to it. And I feel like I've dragged you into a place that you don't want to be.
No. I mean, I didn't have a bad time watching it. There's some movies you watch that you don't think are very good that, is a rough watch. This wasn't that. This was pretty easy to watch. And I did get laughs out of it, so I appreciate that. I think what happened, though, is I had expected it to be worse when I started it, and it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was or was anticipating based on things I'd read and stuff. But yeah, so you're like thumbs up. You liked it.
Yeah, I'm not like, oh my God, this is a marvelous film or anything, but I'm like, yeah, you know what? If I'm looking for something to put me like in the holiday spirit, like the 2 Christmas movies I've watched so far this year were The Long Kiss Goodnight and this. And so both of them are like very atypical Christmas movies. So in lieu of watching like the sort of manufactured, repetitive Hallmark type of Christmas movies, this at least does something a little bit different. But let's just take a look at the details quickly, because this was written and directed by George Gallo, who had done Midnight Run, which I think most people would think is a significantly better movie than this one, but stars Nicolas Cage. So, of course, like I have to at least give it a chance. But also John Lovitz, Dana Carvey, and Machen Amick, the birthday girl, randomly didn't plan this at all, but just happened to be the case when you tagged me earlier on Twitter. And, I think this is sort of a weird byproduct of the 90s in that like Cage was very popular at the time. Dana Carvey was still kind of like popular at the time. John Lovitz was popular at the time. So it was sort of like throw them all together and hope for the best kind of thing. And I think to your point about there's too many people after them, like if we remove sort of the pursuit and lean more into the comedy of, hey, they're just like sort of circumstantially trapped because the bridge is out or the flights are grounded and there's just no way out for them, rather than, oh, there's like the pesky cops and now there's the FBI. And how did those guys get out of jail? I don't quite remember, but they're on the road. And so like there's a lot of moving parts for a movie that seems, I think, a lot more formulaic than all of those moving parts necessitate.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think that you don't need the deputies because I don't think they're funny. They're brought in for comic relief, those two deputies. And one of them is John Ashton, who is okay, so this is what I was gonna say. George Gallo, I guess he wrote Beverly or Midnight Run.
Yes.
That's my guess. Okay. Because John Ashton was in that, and he was also in Beverly Hills Cop, both of which were a Martin Brest movie. So I can see, like, now I can see the like kind of parallels between the guy who wrote Midnight Run and this in a way. Like I can see certain aspects of that successful script that he's kind of trying to configure and make it work with this too. Mostly like the reluctant relationship between the brothers. But yeah, I think though that John Ashton and that other guy who played the deputy, I don't think you need them because they're not, unfortunately, they're just not very funny. And you already have Richard Jenkins, who is very funny and great. I liked him a lot in it as like the FBI guy. And then you have the, the criminals, the mob from jail get out and come after him. So yeah, I just think they kind of did one too many people after them. But when you said there's like the height of their popularity, Dana Carvey has 3 movies this year, which is a lot, like crazy, because Jim Carrey has like 3 movies this year. But Nicolas Cage has 4.
He does.
So they're on fire. I can talk about John Lovitz some more in detail, but I don't know what he's got going on. The funny thing is though, after this movie, Dana Carvey doesn't make a movie for like 6 years.
Interesting.
Which is kind of interesting. Like he made this, and like, so okay, he has Clean Slate, which I know I've mentioned you before, which is a movie that has bad reviews that I really liked when I was a kid, where he plays a detective with short-term memory loss. It's kind of like Memento, but funny Memento. And then he has a movie, he's like a bit part in a movie called The Road to Wellville, which is a very strange comedy that Alan Parker made it's got a good cast, but it's weird. And he's kind of doing this type of character in it where it's like mostly voices and faces. But anyway, and then of course Cage has this great year this year. Then the next year is when he wins the Oscar. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a great cast and they got great guys together for it. But yeah, I'd be curious to know what their experience of making it was. I find the performances range from, depending on which actor you're looking at, you kind of get different, I would say, skills and capabilities.
I think that's fair. And at least in watching some of the cast interviews, none of them seem to really be having a great time making this movie. And maybe that's because, it's freezing outside and this is not stuff that they're doing on a soundstage for the most part. And so like the physical act of doing it was maybe a little bit miserable, but I feel like Cage enjoyed the test of being with 2 guys who are like legitimate comedic actors. And I think for Dana Carvey, like what we see a lot in at least like the film industry is guys that are comedians that are getting into filmmaking. Like there is sort of just like a breaking point where it's like you have to turn into a dramatic actor or you're done.
Yeah.
And so if like it happened to Chris Kattan, right? Like also SNL alum, like comes out, does a lot of his SNL stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like, if you don't turn the corner and become more versatile, your novelty of being the comic guy just kind of wears off. And I feel like Dana Carvey is actually a good actor, but maybe just didn't end up in the right role to kind of showcase that. And I think Lovitz sort of got pigeonholed into the kind of guy that he is in this movie, that like we see him sort of play a very similar role to this in a lot of different things that he does.
Yeah.
So maybe that just had something to do with him taking a 6-year break, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. Let's go to the tail of the tape though and take a look here at what the scores for this movie are, because I wasn't 100% sure when I took a look how bad or how good it was going to be, but it has an IMDb score of 5.9, which higher than I thought, but Metascore of 31, Rotten Tomatoes critic score of 10%.
Oh, wow.
Audience score of 42%. Letterbox of 2.8, and Google users thumbs up rating of 67% for a Bad Movies We Love total of 44.16% out of 100, or 44.16 out of 100. So well within the bad movie sphere, but it seems like if you eliminate nuance and you ask the average person yes or no, 67% thumbs up. IMDb is almost a 6. Letterbox is 5.5 range. So, like, I think the more critical you get of the movie, sort of the worse off you'll be. If you're like, hey, this is a Christmas movie, it's kind of going to be on in the background.
Yeah.
In a marathon of other Christmas movies, you may not bat an eye at it, but maybe watching it outside of the Christmas season for sure is going to be troublesome.
Mm-hmm. I would say that in a sense, I agree with that you could kind of have it on in the background. But what I would say is I feel like the one thing that would keep snapping you back to paying attention to it is Nicolas Cage, who for my money is funnier than the two comedians in the movie. I think he's kind of steals the movie. I think he's much more successful and funnier with his character. The way the script kind of screws over his character later in the, or not screw, it just changes his character on a dime later in the movie. It's not, I don't think that's his fault. He starts it out so negative and weird. He's such a weird, angry, mad guy. And then at a certain point, they're like, okay, wait, no, he's got to fall in love and have a change of heart. So they just kind of stop doing all that like at once. Like it's over. And then from then on, he's just like the normal straight guy the whole time. But when he's in those scenes with like Lovitz and Carvey, especially earlier, and he's doing his Nicolas Cage thing with those weird line readings, I don't know. He like figured out a way to like ensure he was always the focus of attention in movies when he's on screen, because you're always hanging on his word to see what he's going to do or say weird, or he just always is doing weird stuff. And it's so captivating to watch. Like, I don't know. Like he doesn't do that in like the same year and It Could Happen to You. It's a romantic comedy. He plays that pretty straight, but he knows how to calibrate it for the performance. Like there's scenes in that movie where he's with Rosie Perez, which are like really high energy argument scenes. And then he does kind of do some silly, crazy stuff. So, and then of course with the Bridget Fonda stuff in that movie, he's more serious and romantic. In this movie, he's playing against two comedians who are doing two very different things. I feel like John Lovitz is lost in this movie. I don't think he's funny in it. I don't think he has a real good, I think his part is the worst, is written the worst probably. I don't think he knew how to save it. Dana Carvey decides to attack the problem by just doing a lot of faces and doing the funny voice, which does work at times, but like it's not. That's what I think happened with Dana Carvey is he started out with two of the best scripts you can start off with as a comedian, which is Wayne's World 2. Those are still great scripts and very funny. And then after that, just nothing was at that level. And I think that kind of sunk him a little bit because if you're having like battle your script to get laughs, I feel like that can be a problem. So,
I mean, that's true. But a lot of the time with where a script starts and where it gets bought, and where the movie ends up are very different places. Yeah. And so it's going to depend a lot on the director and how much freedom he wants to give his performers. And, having just done an entire month on Nicolas Cage films, like, granted, he works with a lot of people who are maybe making their first feature, or they're a foreign director trying to break into an American audience. And so they're coming to him for a much more like collaborative process, which was probably not as much the case back in the 90s. But this movie in particular, there seemed to be, at least from what I read with the cast interviews, that there was a little bit of just too much freedom in terms of what they were doing. Because like, if I were the director, I would want to rein Dana Carvey in a little bit and be like, what are the choices that you're making here that are informing this character? Like, do you have brain damage? Like, are you meant to represent a character that's on the spectrum? Which this movie has like 3 or 4 characters sort of that are like that, but the language to describe and to actually write characters with that in mind, I think just wasn't present at that time. So it's almost like you're using those characters because people think it's funny to see a guy who's like cross-eyed, right? But then that character ends up like being the hero in the end of the movie. Or like people think it's funny to watch Dana Carvey like with his weird like facial gestures and the way that he speaks, or the sidekick to the deputies who also is like kind of slow. So they're sort of using those characters maybe in the wrong ways, and maybe with a director who understood how to really like represent those people. You could have had a much more nuanced take on that kind of stuff, but it just seems like George Gallo was not super interested in like the directing stuff. He was a little too hands off, and so you get Nick Cage, who's like, all right, well, Dana Carvey's doing this thing, John Lovitz has decided to be the straight man, like I'm not left with much, so we're going heavy into like my bag of accent work, which, as much as I love Nicolas Cage, his accent work is not his strongest suit. But I love that he brings the kind of thing to a movie where he's just like, I'm going to try something. Like, I'm just going to go for it. And one of the clips that I was watching, he's talking about the scene in the bank where he's asking, where is the bank manager or something like that. And so the line on the page is like, well, when is he going to be back? And Cage does it in that weird, like pitched up, really, drawn out delivery. And so he's like, yeah, I just wanted to like do something. And so that's what I did. And nobody told me no. So that's the character. So I had fun watching him try to find space to sort of like wrestle back the weirdness from what Dana Carvey is doing. But yeah, he's stuck between Lovitz, who's just like basically a normal person, and Dana Carvey, who's very abnormal. And then he's supposed to be the reasonable brother of the 3. So it is a weird power dynamic between the 3 of them. And maybe 3 of them was too much. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting that he's kind of supposed to be the adult in the room. But the way we're introduced to him is he's kind of crazy and angry and upset too. Like he's also unhinged. So it's funny that then he's the one who becomes like taking charge. And I think, like, to your point about, I think Dana Carvey, maybe John Lovitz too, they're just trying to get a laugh. They don't care how they get it. They just want to, that's like sketch comedy, I suppose. You just want to get the laugh. They're not thinking about like creating a character probably the same way Nicolas Cage is. So that blend is kind of weird. It's uneasy, like that you have just them just trying to get laughs in scenes, and he's more like, I feel like Cage is more like, let's figure out, like, let's really figure out this guy. Let's see what's going on. What drives him crazy? What makes him tick? And you definitely get the vibe of what you're talking about with the director, that he was hands off, because some of those scenes just run on and they just go, and it feels very unrestrained or just uncoordinated. I definitely get that sense. Or I understand that. Yeah.
Even within the confines of the character decisions that are made, there are still some very weird moments. Like, I feel like what the movie is really trying to do is like, hey, these guys are crooks, right? But they're going to get bitten by the Christmas spirit, and they're going to turn over a new leaf, right? And that's kind of like what is happening. But with Dana Carvey and John Lovitz, you have like a weird safety net with them, where it's like anytime they're not on screen with Cage, they can sort of like fall back into what they're used to. But it seems like the dynamic should be that like Cage is sort of like slowly pulling them along into like, you need to get out of a life of crime. Like, we can't disappoint mom. Like, you need to get a job. Like, he's working a regular job. So it seems like he should be sort of chipping away at their character flaws. But then even, I don't know, at least an hour and a half into the movie, he's going at Lovitz like, oh, wow, like you still just like don't stop. You never change. And so like if you haven't changed at that point in the movie, the only thing that changes beyond that is that Cage officially is like, I am now the decider of what will happen, and I am no longer like entertaining making this a three-way conversation. It doesn't actually feel like character growth for anybody other than him, and even him is like, we're not the same people that we were this morning, I promise you. It's like, wow, lots happened today.
Yeah. And that even feels like forced to me. I feel like the movie almost shoehorns him into, we had Machen Amick. For whatever reason, she's here. We have to get them together. We have to make him seem sweet and like, yeah, you're right. Any scene he's in where he doesn't have the two brothers with him, they're treating him like he's just a normal everyday guy. They're taking any chance they can when they're not around to just be like, look how normal he is. He's nice, he's sweet, blah, blah, blah. But then he jumps into another scene with them and he's back to crazy again because he has to play crazy to work with them. He can't play. I guess he could have, but he probably didn't want to. It's boring just to have to be like, no, stop, stop goofing around, you guys. Yeah. I lost what I was going to say, but it's just a weird.
I feel like
weird.
Well, I feel like if they want to play in that sandbox, you might as well have just like made him a bank teller or something, not a guy that works at a restaurant, like a guy who's actually like pencil pushing, glasses, like as straight laced as possible, trying to reform the life of crime thing rather than, oh, I heard sirens in the distance and now like, sure, we're just life of crime again. Like you gave it up so easily.
And I thought about what I was going to say. It was like robbing the bank is his idea. I mean, I know they trick him to get him there, but it's his idea. He's the one who's like, there's no camera. The guy's asleep. Like, we should rob his bank. So even though they convolute, of course, the way to get him in this trap, it is still his idea, which is an interesting choice because you think it would be more like him being like, no, I don't know, guy, like more reluctant, which he becomes later. But also the the way they trap him is weird. Okay, so this movie has a lot of scenes of dropped wallets. people are dropping wallets from the first frame throughout the movie. And that just has a lot to do with that whole wallet thing in the beginning was weird to me anyway. He was like, he's looking at the wallet. He's loudly saying in ADR, like, oh no, he's got a wife and kids. He's got a dog. I can't steal from him. He keeps like looking at the cash. So, I mean, that's to give us the sense that he like, I guess they're all brothers who are criminals, but he's really kind of tried to change his ways. But it's been a struggle for him. But anyway, and then later they steal his wallet and tell him he dropped. It's just a lot of wallet stuff going on.
This is true. It's almost like they frame it like an addiction where I think it's very clear cut with Dana Carvey. Like he's a kleptomaniac, like he's stealing everything that isn't tied down. But Cage doesn't necessarily have that addiction. I mean, in that first scene, did he like pick the guy's pocket with the wallet because he just happens to like find a wallet with a tempting amount of hundreds in it, and we get to see him like wrestling with his moral obligation as Christmas approaches?
I think it was an accident because it looked like it got dropped and then kicked around by several people and then eventually ended up in the subway steps. That's what I saw it as. Then he spotted it and was like, oh, let me grab that. That's how I saw it. But yeah, it was a weird way to start a movie. Like we're following a wallet being kicked around.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's not even like he picked the guy's pocket and then was having like a crisis of conscience because, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. Like, I just can't like help myself. It was, I found this thing on the ground and I really want to take this guy's money. It's in my DNA to be a crook kind of thing. And I don't know, there's a lot of wrestling with the notion of reformed criminal and like good person, but only good because like you witnessed other people being good. I don't know. It is asking a lot of maybe a more discerning audience. But I mean, this movie wasn't reviewed well at the time either. But I'm going to take a moment here. We'll set the table and see what we can gather from the production notes. So production began in early 94 with filming taking place across Ontario, Canada, where towns like Niagara-on-the-Lake and Elora doubled for Paradise, Pennsylvania, giving the movie its snow-covered small-town charm. But shooting ran from late January through April. Jack N. Green handled the cinematography, Terry Rawlings edited the film, and Robert Folk did the score. Very good 90s score, I will say. Very familiar, but like on brand. The project was designed as a feel-good holiday caper, trying to blend slapstick, heart, and the fish-out-of-water hijinks of its three leads. And after its theatrical debut in December of 94, Trapped in Paradise eventually found new life on home video, building a small, very small, but loyal cult following among fans of quirky Christmas comedies. So, I don't know. I haven't really ever heard anybody mention this film. You know, I knew about it and I'd maybe seen it once. And then, you mentioned it last year. But in that year, I haven't seen anybody oh, man, I'm so excited for my yearly watch of Trapped in Paradise.
Yeah, it feels forgotten. I know when it came out on VHS, when I was a kid, I would go with my parents in the grocery store, and for some reason they had an end cap at that grocery store of it was all 20th Century Fox DVDs, or no, VHS, and specifically the ones that they called their selections. It had a little maroon top, and it was 20th Century Fox selections. That's where I got Raising Arizona and 9 to 5 and found out about those movies. But I remember Trapped in Paradise was one of those selections. I remember just every time I would see it there and be like, oh yeah, I saw that, but nothing would call me to to pick it up and be like, let me use my allowance money on my $10 on this. Yeah, nothing was calling for me. And I don't know, I was a big fan of silly comedy when I was young. I'm not sure why this one just didn't really click for me. I don't know why.
I mean, I think for the most part, it's not a silly comedy. I think
that might be why.
Dana Carvey is he's the only one that is operating in that space. And the movie either needs to sort of lean away from the slapsticky nature of the film and just make it a lighthearted, heartwarming Christmas comedy, which I think you can do. Or you have to lean all the way the other way into no, this is a really goofy comedy where all of the wallet stuff sort of makes sense there. And the FBI agent just shooting out a random person's tires. It's it seems like so many of the decisions could have been crafted with the notion that we are making a comedy first movie. And really what this feels to me is this is a traditional feel-good Christmas movie that has these other elements in it rather than vice versa. And so I think that's kind of where it gets stuck is it's non-committal sort of in both directions.
Yeah. Yeah. And even though Dana Carvey is obviously doing a very silly thing, I will say I liked all the kleptomania stuff. I thought that was pretty funny throughout. I thought that worked. And then I don't want to mess up. We do have to set aside 5 minutes to talk about the bank robbery scene because that's the best scene in the movie for me by far. And it really made me laugh at certain parts of it. So I want to give the movie its due for that segment. But going back to Dana Carvey though, I thought he was while I found him a little bit annoying, I thought the kleptomania stuff was good, and I also just worked or was funny at least. And he was the one though that was interesting to me because when Nicolas Cage has his turnabout, he explains it to them at the diner, and Carvey is the first one to crack and be like, okay, I agree with you. Let's put the money back. But I felt like they didn't really set that up well enough where he would do that. Lovitz is obviously the holdout, and that makes sense. And then he eventually kind of comes around, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too picky, but it felt like it was a little bit too easy for them to make Carvey go, okay, yeah, you're right. We need to give the money back. These guys are really they steal everything. He steals everything. So it's weird to think that he would just be like, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, we'll put it back. I don't know.
Well, I think the character dynamic that they're working with sort of makes sense in that Carvey to me is he's the kid brother. And John Lovitz, I don't know if he's supposed to be the oldest or not or whatever, but he's clearly the one who has gotten to the kid brother and spend the most time with him. So he's the one sort of pulling the strings. And if he is somewhere on the spectrum, it sort of makes him easier to manipulate. And you could imagine that if they made Lovitz slimier and like much more clearly villainous rather than trying to maybe pad that with some comedy, you could see him being like, oh, I am taking advantage of him because maybe he's a really good pickpocket because that's his thing, or he's a klepto, so he loves stealing things. So it's very easy for me to like get him to go along with my hijinks. So I think like if that is in play and is very demonstrably clear, then you sort of can pull back and then give Cage and Carvey enough time together where he's like, why you listen to him? Like, why you let him drag you into all this trouble? Like, you could have those kind of conversations. And I think the movie it gets too bogged down in doing all of the other things it's doing.
Other stuff. Yeah.
There's too many chases going on in order to make that actually work. And then like Machen Amick, she's, like you said, I don't really know why she's in this movie other than it's the 90s. There has to be a love interest. That's going to be our only version of a happy ending. It couldn't just be like, these guys realize that being pieces of crap is not good because of the spirit of the townspeople. But it's all framed around, oh my God, I'm in love with Sarah, this woman I just met. And it's like, this has all happened in a day.
Yeah.
I think also makes it very sort of unbelievable.
Yeah, man. Machen Amick, man, Hollywood really blew that, I would say, because like, she looks like Ava Gardner. Like she looks like an old fashioned movie star. Like she's gorgeous. She's good. Like when you watch Twin Peaks, she's great as Shelley in that throughout. And then in movies, like it just fizzled out. And I think it was just bad. I don't know if it was bad parts or bad management. Like I think it doesn't help her that her first like big film role was in Fire Walk with Me, where she really is like a footnote in that movie. I think he filmed a lot of material with the townspeople in Fire Walk with Me, David Lynch did, but her part got cut really small. She's like barely in 2 scenes of Fire Walk with Me. Then she's in Sleepwalkers, which I watched for Halloween, and she's in a lot of that movie, and she does an okay job, but it's a very stupid movie.
TV movie, right?
It was actually theater, but it was the only movie Stephen King ever wrote that was just a script, not based on anything else he'd written. And it's a very silly movie. But this same year, 94, she has a really good movie with James Spader, a thriller, like an erotic thriller called Dream Lover, where she's like bad in it. And she's really good, like very convincing as playing like a femme fatale. But come back to this. Yeah, there's no character here. There's no writing for her. She almost is barely in, like, she's got like 5 scenes. She's doing an accent, which whatever. They got to underline that she's like the daughter of the mob boss. I get it. Her stupid bob. It's like, I wish she had longer hair. I don't like that bob. But anyway, she's walking around. I mean, she figures everything out instantly. And then it's they have to shoehorn that in that she's going to fall for him and he's going to change his ways and they'll get together at the end. But I think and this was it. I think after this, I don't remember seeing her in much else at all. Like, I think this. So I was always sad that her career didn't go better because she's a really good actress. But yeah, stuff like this definitely didn't help. I don't know what her managers were doing or what agents, but
I'm curious if she lost out on a lot of roles to like Sean Young.
Maybe because this would have been around that time.
Because like they have sort of like a similar
energy
as well.
Yeah.
So if you're competing in that space and then you're only getting sort of like the leftover screenplay scraps because you're not the first choice, then you end up in a situation like this where it's like, hey, at least I'm in a Christmas release, I'm opposite Nicolas Cage kind of, and I get to be in like sort of an A-lister type of movie, but yeah, it doesn't do her any justice, and she should have been a more important part of the film, given that the love story is what like changes everything.
Yeah. And weirdly, it happened to all of the ladies from Twin Peaks. Like they all were on the show, then tried movies and like had a run of movies in the early 90s. And then all it didn't really take off. Like Lara Flynn Boyle, she did TV after a while. Like she did like The Practice for a while. So she had an okay run, but like it just, none of them really popped off the way you think they would. And they're all really great on the show. So it's kind of sad.
Well, maybe there's time for a late career resurgence. We're seeing it probably a little bit more now than we would have 10 years ago.
I will say this. I was a fan of Gilmore Girls, and I know for a fact that Amy Sherman Palladino liked Twin Peaks because she would cast people from Twin Peaks all the time. Machen Amick showed up in a guest spot there. Sherilyn Fenn showed up in 2 different parts. Ray Wise, Leland Palmer himself showed up as the grandmother's love interest in one episode. Like, I know she was a Twin Peaks person because like they keep every time they pop up, I'm like, hey, that Leo DiCaprio gif of him like pointing at the TV, like,
yeah. All right, well, let's do some synopsis haikus. I mean, we've talked about this movie a lot already, and it's not a super complicated one to explain, at least. So I don't think we have to worry about burdening ourselves with actual synopses here. But the floor is yours.
Okay, here's my haiku. It's 575, right?
Yes.
Okay. Lovitz can't get laughs. Carvey tries voice and faces. Unhinged Cage works best. That's my haiku.
Yeah, I was accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, I can see the makings of a really like unhinged Cage performance here that are just, it's like stuck behind the fact that he's got to play it straight enough to like get to the finish line of the movie. Cause like if he breaks at any point, you might as well just be like, all right, Dana Carvey is going to be the one who we give the love interest to. And that it's going to be him. And it is kind of like him too, where it's like he has the change of heart, where it's like he's friends with the horse, and so it's like you're almost you're like hedging your bets a little bit with the two of them, while like Lovitz just gets to like be a prick.
Yeah.
Okay. So mine is 3 shitty brothers, 1 bank to rob for Christmas, Yuletide change of heart.
Nice. That's good. That's accurate.
Accurate indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, like not a super complicated movie to have to try to explain like some of the stuff that I'm like, I don't even know where to begin with this. But let's take a look back now. Actually, wait, before we look at the trailer, I know you've already sort of expressed yourself on why you think this movie is not necessarily a good movie, but why do you think that people generally consider this to be a bad movie?
I think in general, I think it's a little too low energy for a comedy in a lot of ways. I think it kind of, especially in the back half, it really just is kind of crawling along to the end for me. There is energy in the early moments. Like I keep bringing up, that bank robbery scene is pretty funny. That's good stuff. But yeah, I would say low energy. The characters aren't super well written, and they're being performed by actors who all have very different goals and at the same time. That's what I would say.
I think that's a good way to put it. One of the just in one of the videos I was looking at, I left it open, and the comment said something like, "Oh, here, my cat claims to have written and directed this movie." So that's the kind of energy that this movie has. But yeah, let's take a look now at the trailer and see what this movie was trying to sell itself as in 1994.
20th Century Fox would like you to meet the Furbo family. Dave.
Once released from this prison, I, much like my reptilian brother, the pterodactyl, shall fly high above my problems.
Alvin.
Excuse me. The sign says take a pen, not take all the pens.
Bill.
Look at that abandoned car.
It's my car.
Oh.
Their ma.
Beautiful dreamer.
Like the mom.
How'd you like to ride in the trunk of the car?
Edna, are we sleeping together? I think not.
One big temptation.
Forget it.
Forget what?
There's no money in the vault.
And what have we here?
$275,000.
One brilliant plan.
The choking on the cigarette, smoking.
The key, raise your hand.
Oh.
Do you boys really want to do this?
Absolutely.
But on Christmas Eve, it doesn't seem right.
One huge mistake.
I just did what the map said. I made 4 lefts.
4 lefts? Is a circle, you idiot!
yeah, that was
Robbing the bank was easy.
Oh my God, are you okay? Well, we're not dead, if that's what you mean. Why don't you come join my family and me for a wonderful Christmas dinner by the fire?
But surviving the nicest little town in the world,
Here we are.
that's the hard part.
Come on in.
I just rob these people. I don't want to get to know them, all right?
If you don't give me that money, I'm going to throw your mother out the window.
All right, love you too.
Do you need any money?
No, we've taken more than our share already.
20th Century Fox presents the story of 3 brothers looking to get out of paradise
Is there a bus or a train?
any way they can. Nicolas Cage,
I'm getting this feeling that you're not telling me something.
John
I like
Lovitz,
that stuff, though.
Feeling you're getting is paranoia.
Dana Carvey,
Come on, let's just go.
trapped in paradise.
Don't aggravate the old witch.
I wish I was a witch. I'd shove my broomstick right up your
Okay. That scene when when they go up to the house and the bank teller opens the door, or the bank owner opens the door, and Cage does that thing he did in the end where he just goes, ah! Like, that was funny. Like, that was just a funny reaction from him. Like, he just screams in the guy's face, like, because he can't believe that that's, and we know it's coming, but when it happens, it's really funny. 4 circles is a left. 4 lefts is a circle did make me laugh. That's not a terrible trailer. Well, you said the thing about the pointing. I liked when Cage did it, but I didn't like when the brothers did. I know that's the joke, I guess, is they're all doing the same thing. Like, I just feel like it kind of, when they're all doing the exact same thing, it shows how much better Cage is. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's doing it, and then they look like they're just doing kind of like a bad imitation of what he just did. I don't know. I know that's kind of what it is, but it's just, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's any question that Cage is like the superior actor of the trio, but I'm curious.
But in this movie, the superior comedian. That's the thing that drives me. That's crazy to me. Is he's so much funnier to me than they are in this movie. Anyway, sorry.
I think for a guy like him, that sort of the way he embodies his mentality with acting, he's like, I've seen him say it multiple times. You know, we talked about it in the episode when we did Mom and Dad, where he's like, there is no top when people say over the top. He's like, I get to decide what the top is. And then I think in reference to another movie, he's like, I don't think there is a top on human emotion, so I'm just going to do whatever I want. So I'm curious, in like that particular scene where they're pointing at each other, if it was like, this is Cage's decision to like do this thing, and then it's like they all just decided to do it, or if that's something where that's not necessarily in the script, Cage is bringing that, and then, you know, you have the director being like, oh yeah, now you pointed him, kind of thing. Because it does feel like maybe the right choice for Cage in that situation, but then it gets diluted in terms of its comedic value each time it happens. But watching that trailer there, when it's just Dana Carvey and John Lovitz at the parole board, I'm curious if the movie was like originally conceived for just them. And it was like, we're not going to be able to like get this movie made without something else in it. And then that brings in Cage, because it feels like Cage is obviously like the tip of the spear with this movie. He's the biggest star. He's the best actor in the film. And just seeing the two of them at the parole meeting is like, that's like a self-contained story. Like, you don't even need the third brother for it to be like, we're getting out on parole, we're going to this small town. It actually makes more sense for the two of them to be like these sort of like bumbling criminals that have a great plan and just can't quite get out of it. And I don't know, it just seems like having Nick Cage in there was maybe an afterthought of like, hey, we need to bring in somebody else into this story, or maybe that brother was less important in the original version of the story. But yeah, I don't know, like there's a lot going on. There's probably too much going on for it to be like coherent, and I see why people are not necessarily big fans of this film. I understand that, but you know, as a fan of Nick Cage, I think watching him make some of these choices is fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there are times in the movie when you're wondering why they even bothered with Nicolas Cage. Like, he's their brother. They love him. They know he's trying to live like a life, a normal life, it's like they don't care about the fact that they're not legally supposed to go across state lines. Like, why don't they just go? You would think, is it the car? Is that what it is? I can't remember why. Why do they need him? Yeah. I mean, they could probably figure out a way. I'm just saying it's weird that I know why they loop him in, because obviously, like you said, for the movie, they need to have the three of them. But it could have been where that was an afterthought to bring him in. And then you'd have to be like, well, we have to make it a love story. Like, they have to keep adding on things once they bring in Cage as the lead. I will say, though, speaking of the parole board thing, when I was watching the trailer, I was very surprised they used the John Lovitz monologue about the pterodactyl for this reason. I feel like in trailers for movies like this, especially ones that maybe aren't the best movies, they want to get all their best and funniest scenes in the trailer to get you in the theater. And when I was watching that scene, I was like, this is not funny. Like, I was like, this is dead. Like, his monologue about the pterodactyl was just deadly to me. And I was like, oh, like, it made me like worry. I was like, oh God, is this whole movie? And then the movie got better, but I'm just, cause that's pretty early that happens. But I can't believe they started the trailer with that. I was like, no, this is not the right thing to use to sell this movie. Do not use his weird pterodactyl thing, because it's just not great. To be fair, I love John Lovitz. He does a lot of the best Simpsons characters. He's great. I just, not in this movie.
Yeah, and it's like, it just seems like he's being John Lovitz. Like, the way that he delivers a lot of the line readings, that sort of like classic sarcastic style, is what we know him for. So not ultimately surprising, but yeah, I feel like him and Dana Carvey being those two characters probably could have stood on its own if you weren't saddling it with, like, this movie is clearly meant to be like a success in the vein of a lot of other like Christmas movies that come out. If it comes out as just like a quirky comedy, the budget's not that high, maybe not even inflated by adding Cage to the project at that point, you might actually just have a better movie, because you have these two guys that have worked together for a long time, that know each other's style, and you just let that be the film. And it's like, I would probably like it less because there's no Cage, but the movie might actually ultimately be better than it turned out being.
Yeah. I was going to say, so the movie starts with the parole stuff. It starts with the brothers getting together, going to the town. To me, it was not super funny at that point, so my hopes were kind of low. And I was like, oh no, is this whole movie going to be kind of just like a slog? But then we get to the bank robbery. Are you ready to talk bank robbery?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you. You wanted to speak on the bank robbery, so now's the time.
So I was not expecting a big laugh from this movie in any way. At this point, I was like, it might be amusing, but it's not going to. Okay. So the bank robbery scene. So they go into the bank. The bank owner's not there. They have to go across the street. Everybody, they go across the street to get him, to get the keys. Everybody from the diner goes across the street back into the bank. There's just certain line, like, this is where Cage is really going off with a lot of the line readings. And then, like, there's one line he says where he's like, keep your hands up or I will shoot you and I will shoot the person next to you. And the way he says it is it's a funny line anyway, but the way he says it is so funny. But the part that I laughed so hard about was Dana Carvey is waiting in the car for them. He's the getaway car. They get the money. They accidentally set the alarm off. They have to run out. And then it cuts to Dana Carvey in the car, and he's rehearsing to himself what he's going to say to a cop. He's like, oh, I was just waiting here till the meter ran out. And then for no reason at all, he just takes off while they're running into the car. He just totally takes off. And they're like, what the hell? And then he stops and then gets like rear-ended by, like, he starts a huge pileup. And they get close to the car again. And then he's angry at the cars behind him for hitting him. But then he just takes off again. It was so funny to me because it made no sense and was so unexpected for him to do that. Like, just the idea that he would be rehearsing what to say to the cop and then be like, screw it, and then just take off. And then eventually they run into him. Like, the only way they get back in the car is they just happen to, like, he's about to drive by them and then slams on the brakes. I don't know, man. That getaway scene really did make me laugh. That was great.
It's almost like his character like forgot what he was supposed to be actually doing. So for like by the time he's having that conversation, he's like, he forgot about the robbery. He's just like, all right, well, I'm getting out of here.
And the fact that he takes off when they're like just inches from the car, he's just like, I'm getting out of here, and they're about to run into the car. Oh God, it was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, it probably is. It's a scene that captures, I think, where the movie is its strongest, because I think by putting them all in masks and eliminating the weird triangle brother dynamic, you know, you isolate two of them, you leave Carvey alone, and Cage gets to like wear that mask and like be as insane as he is, like wielding the gun. Like Lovitz, I mean, still it doesn't really change that much, but once Cage leaves with the bank manager's wife, Lovitz is left alone as well to sort of like do his thing. And so I think you actually kind of get to see maybe like the highest peaks from all of the individual characters. And it's a weird instance where there's three, what I will say are all good actors. They're all good actors, definitely varying degrees, but they're actually better by themselves than they are together in this movie. And the movie really hangs its hat on them being a trio more than it does of them having their individual strengths. And so that's why the bank robbery, I think, works better than probably a lot of the rest of the movie, because it's like, oh, he's doing his thing, he's doing his thing, he's doing his thing, and they're all good at it. But then you put them together and there's just not enough oxygen in the room.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that, but that's true, because that's the only scene where like they don't have the three of them all like walking into a scene together in a group and then walking out. Like they're always just stuck to like in the poster behind you, they're all like stuck in that snow globe formation in every scene. They come in together, they leave together, they talk together. Like it's always the three of them in that way. They don't have any separate moments besides that. That may be the difference. And like there's just, yeah, with the mask on, Cage saying like, I can't remember exactly, but he's like, keys. Like he just starts screaming that he wants the keys. Like, I don't, his choices are just so surprising, more so when he's in a mask, because you don't know what the hell's even going on in his face. I really thought they did a good job with that. Like, I thought that scene was probably, I don't know if it may not even be in the writing. It may just be like the performance, but I thought they did a good job at making that scene funny in a way the rest of the movie kind of didn't quite get to for me. So
yeah, it's also maybe one of only maybe like 2 or 3 overall scenes in the movie where like the hijinks actually sort of get to take over. So if you want a slapstick Christmas comedy, it's one of the only points in the movie where you actually get that. I mean, you know, where they're kind of escaping with the horse on the sled is like, okay, that is a good sort of like comedic plot device to have that happen. But then it turns like really dark, and
oh yeah, God, yeah.
You're just going to debate whether or not you want to save the horse from like drowning in the icy waters of the river. And like that decision takes way too long for some guys that are supposedly like having a change of heart. It's like, go save the horse. Like you're about to lose any goodwill that you have begun to accumulate with the audience by not going to save the horse. And so, I mean, at least that they go and they get that done. But yeah, just all of the hijinks sort of, they don't get to pay off in any like really enjoyable way. And then even when we sort of are faced with like the big confrontation at the end of the film, it's none of the three of them who act in that moment. Right, so you're like, here's this other character who's kind of really not been in the film that much, but he's the hero. Like he actually does the heroic thing and saves the three of them. And so you even take that moment away from them. And it's like, I just don't understand what the point of kind of a lot of those decisions are.
Yeah, you made me think of 2 things that I thought of that were interesting about this, which is, so in a lot of comedies of this time, and maybe like even 70s and 80s in this time, one thing that's never really worked on me in comedies that I don't find funny are car chases. Movies try to do that a lot with like I'm thinking like Cannonball Run type stuff. Like they try to make cars funny, like cars going fast, and it's never really worked for me. So the fact that the fact that the scene that made me laugh the hardest involved a car speeding off, to me was incredible. I was like, they finally got me on a car related joke, like a gag, which was awesome, because I was like, this has never really worked for me. But to that point, they then tried the car chase scene later with the horse thing, like you're talking about. And for me, that doesn't work. I don't find that. I mean, it's just, they try to be funny in the car chase. It's just like, the cars are chasing after the horse and buggy. And it's just, I don't know. But yeah, when that horse fell in the water, and actually until we just watched the trailer, I had forgotten about the whole part where Dana Carvey falls in the water, nearly drowns or freezes to death because they're on a canoe trying to escape. It's just like, how did we get there? And I forgot about it. Like, so much happens in this movie. You forget about the canoe, you forget about the river, you forget about hypothermia. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the decision to get into a boat at night on the river was suspect at best, but it's like, I'm not super like familiar with the geography of Pennsylvania and New York, but I think rivers flow south.
Yeah,
so if you're getting on a Pennsylvania based river, you would not end up in New York. You might be able to leave the town, but yeah, even in that scene, they had to remove a bunch of ice blocks from the river because like, this is a stupid and dangerous stunt to be doing at all. And then there's an FBI helicopter flying over the river. Like, oh, we didn't expect the FBI to have brought in a chopper. I mean, it is kind of weird. Like, I didn't expect to see a helicopter in that scene, but the fact that it's there and they think that they can at any point avoid detection from the helicopter, just like paddle faster. It's like this, you're in a boat, they're in a helicopter. This is not going to work for you. And it just feels like they never really reached the level of desperation that like they needed to get to make that bad of a decision, because it's like, just, you have a bag with $275,000 in it, get a hotel, wait out the storm. It's over. Like, you don't know that the mobsters are coming to get you, like, so they probably could have played it off, and they had made a little bit of like friends with the townspeople and stuff. They could have gotten out of it, but they were like so desperate to get out of there like that night that they shoot themselves in the foot.
And
but
there's never enough people or extras in the movie because we keep being told this is our biggest tourist day of the year. There's no way to know who robbed the bank. But when you look at the scenes, there's never anybody around. Like, there's a few people, like a normal town's amount of people, but there's no extra. You're like, this place should be like packed all hours. Like, there should be nowhere to move. And they're constantly evading capture and arrest in a entirely just the smallest town possible with nobody there. They're never found. It's like, it's wild. Yeah.
And everybody knows that they're like the three guys that showed up together. The first thing they do in town is make themselves very known. And then after that, it's like, okay, well, yeah, there's the three dudes that we don't know. Oh, there's those three guys that we don't know. So yeah, they stick out like a sore thumb, and so I can understand why they want to leave. But all of the reasons that they're trapped are a little bit just like,
oh yeah. I was gonna ask you this: when they flip the car, which is crazy that's part of the movie. They flip a car and they're all okay.
They just walk away from it.
They're not cut anything. Dana Carvey's lip is bleeding slightly. That's all they get from a flipped car. But don't they have all those guns in the trunk?
Yeah.
Like, what happened to the car and the guns? Like, I know the other car they drowned, but like this car that's been flipped, we never see it again. We never hear again about it, about the guns in the trunk, anything. I mean, they get the money out of the car because they have that duffel, but it's just, I don't know. I just thought that was funny that we never hear anything else about. By the way, they had a ton of weapons in their car that they flipped.
I know they switch cars, right? Because Dana Carvey's driving like the older boxy sedan, and then they drive down to like that mud pit and switch cars. So maybe they left the guns in
that could be
the other car. But the FBI agent, Richard Jenkins, makes it a point to be like, get a crowbar and pop the trunk, which doesn't happen. Instead, he looks in the front seat and is like, ski masks. And then they cut away from that scene. So like, maybe the guns were in there, maybe not. But either way, like, yeah, the car is upside down. It lands on what I assumed was just another patch of frozen river, but doesn't sink. So there's not even like a harrowing sort of escape moment. It's like, oh no, our car is just upside down. It's like, I get maybe it's like you want the action scene of the car going over the bridge, but realistically, like, even if their car blows a tire or runs out of gas or any other of many, many smaller things that it could be, that is like, our car is not drivable and now we need to, rely on somebody else. would work in that situation. But to have them go through that car crash and be like, yeah, nobody's seriously injured. It was just cool to see the car go upside down. I mean, I guess so.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, if I could make a movie and they gave me the opportunity, like, well, do you want to flip the car or not? I'd be like, let's flip it.
Sure, why not? Flip the shit.
Yeah, we'll fix it. We'll rewrite the ending after that. All right. Well, how do you feel about doing some trivia?
Time for trivia.
Oh, sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, it's not going to be necessarily the hardest, but it'll get you some easy points for the bonus wheel.
Okay.
So this film was the first film that both Dana Carvey and Jon Lovitz had worked on together after leaving what popular TV show?
Saturday Night Live.
Look at that. Easy one right out of the gates. Yeah, it's kind of surprising because so many SNL actors had worked together on like SNL specific movies in the generation after them. So it's kind of crazy to think that, they had been popularized on 80s SNL and then hadn't really worked together after that.
And they were on SNL at the same time, I think, probably. That feels right. Yeah.
Okay, well, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, 1994 was a big year for Nicolas Cage, and he starred in 4 total movies. What are the 3 other ones besides this one?
Red Rock West.
That's 1.
It Could Happen to You.
That's 2.
Guarding Tess.
That's 3. Look at that. Got them all. Right? Nicolas Cage's version of Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah. Driving Secret Service to Shirley MacLaine. Yeah.
All right. Well, third and final question. A little bit harder, but you might get it. Jon Lovitz quotes which 1959 police procedural TV show to Nicolas Cage in this movie?
Is it 1959? No, that's too late. Hold on, let me think for a second.
Yeah, no problem. I was like, if I put the quote in, it's a little too easy, I think.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Dang, I'm just like blanking. This is wrong. The Andy Griffith Show. I don't know.
No, but I'm going to give you a second chance because my initial plan was to put the quote in. So the quote that Lovitz says to him, he says, "There's 8 million stories in the naked city, and not all of them revolve around you."
That doesn't even help me. So,
it wouldn't have helped me either.
Columbo, that's too late. But
the show is actually Naked City. So the quote at the end of every episode was, "There's 8 million stories in the naked city," and this was one of them. So it was like, police Twilight Zone, but less spooky. That's fine. You still got 4, which is
4.
Which is plenty. But before we get over to the bonus wheel, just gonna go over a couple other things because we talked about Dana Carvey doing like some weird stuff in this movie, and so I guess he based this on film producer Brad Gray and Mickey Rourke. And I don't know if this is true, but it says that a 20th Century Fox representative had to fly from LA to Canada and tell him to stop doing the voice.
Oh my God.
But Nick Cage told him to keep doing it. So, I mean, that signals a big disconnect between like what the studio wanted and like what they're doing, obviously. But it doesn't surprise me at all that like Nick Cage saw what was going on and was like, yeah, do more of that.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's so much of like 9.5 weeks, Mickey Rourke in this, the way he's doing this now, like especially the voice. I'm just like, oh, how did I not figure out that he was doing Mickey Rourke? Oh, it sounds so much like him.
Yeah. I mean, it's still an odd choice nonetheless. It's like, can you just be a person, Dana Carvey? Like, or do you have to like be a character all the time?
Yeah, right.
We already mentioned that they had to remove those ice blocks from the river. But yeah, residents were like actually concerned that like if you break up these ice blocks, it's going to cause like damage to the city. So the production had to like bring in equipment to remove those and to film that scene. What else we got? The dog Tripod was he was added to the script later when the director saw the dog and the owner among the spectators watching the filming while they were in Ontario. So he was like, "Hey, you guys want to be in my movie?"
That feels like he's like, this will get some easy laughs. A 3-legged dog.
Yeah, very laissez-faire attitude when it comes to the direction of this film. Just grab people off the street. But the last thing was that I wanted to mention movies that are filmed in the cold are kind of exceedingly rare these days. Like even watching The Long Kiss Goodnight, I'm like, damn, it is freezing cold in this movie. And now, I mean, obviously you don't want to film in that if you can avoid it. You're shooting very long hours. You don't want to be out there like 12, 16 hours. But I think it does give something to the movies that actually are like, we're going on location to film in a cold place. And like, you have to dress the cast accordingly, like the way that the ground looks. But even though what I heard was that it was below 20, or it was like, something like the 20 below zero, that they still had to bring in a lot of artificial snow. So they brought in 75,000 pounds of custom-made biodegradable potato flakes from Idaho to serve as the additional snow. So I'm guessing that's maybe like the way that it's mounded up in the town area, because you can tell that it's actually cold and it's actually snowing in a lot of scenes. So
yeah, it looks believably
movie magic.
Yeah, it looks believably cold, like a Fargo or Simple Plan type thing. It looks cold like that. Yeah.
I want to share one more clip that I pulled. I think this is the right one. I want to make sure I don't pull up the wrong one. It was like a kind of review and press junket clip from November 24th, 1994. So this is like right around the time that the movie is coming out. Okay. And it has Nick Cage talking about the movie a little bit and filming on location there.
Okay.
Come on, let's just go.
But these modern-day Three Stooges can't seem to get anything right. Maybe their brains are frozen. The actors say filming for months in 20 below zero temperatures did have some mind-numbing effects.
We were in freezing weather, all-night exteriors for
he's dressed. He must have been filming Kiss of Death.
Below weather,
yeah,
so
he was.
Their sense of humor and paper cup filled with hot apple cider kind of made everything okay.
Horses love it out here. We wanted to shoot in a soundstage. Horse said no. Give me ice. Give me snow.
And with jokesters like Carvey and Lovitz around, Nicolas Cage says it was both fun and intimidating.
Hello, I'm John Lovitz, and here's Dana.
Okay, only when they say action, I'll be funny there, but I can't be funny when the camera's not rolling.
I had the most fun working with those two guys on a movie than I've ever had before. They're just hilarious on camera as well as off camera.
Lisa Petrillo, Channel 10 Eyewitness News, Daybreak.
The sign says take a pen, not take all the pens.
So it's funny because they cut to interviews that they clearly conducted or that were available via their press circle. But then as she's talking about it, she's like, maybe their brains froze. And I'm like, oh, she didn't think this was funny. But then calling them like a modern day Three Stooges, like she's sort of like wanting to entertain like the slapstick nature of it. Obviously, you know, Cage and them don't have any knowledge of what is going to be said when they're recording the interview. But yeah, to be like, oh, their brains are frozen from being outdoors too much. Right.
Yeah, mind numbing.
But yeah, to hear Cage sort of, you know, talk about working with guys that like are known comedians, it definitely was a different thing for him at the time. But I mean, testament to him as a performer that he could rise to the occasion and be the funniest one of the three.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's really, really funny in it. So if he felt intimidated by them, you definitely don't get that vibe at all. He's a good actor because you don't feel that. I didn't feel that at all. Or it doesn't come across anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I could imagine if like, say you watch SNL, but you're not a movie person, and this is during Cage's sort of rise to prominence as well. If you go into this movie watching it for John Lovitz and Dana Carvey, maybe you step back and you're like, you know, Nick Cage is not a funny part of this movie because he's not doing comedy in the style that I would anticipate or that I'm accustomed to. But I think, yeah, having enough distance and, you know, I watched that era of SNL a little bit, but it wasn't like huge into it. But I had seen Wayne's World already at that point. I had seen John Lovitz on Friends and he had done The Simpsons and stuff. So to watch it at a time where I already have like a good framework for who those other guys are, but also be a Nick Cage fan, I think it's pretty clear that Cage is like the North Star with this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder, like, I was just thinking about, I wonder how long Machen Amick filmed this movie, like 3 days. You think she was there for like 3 days, maybe?
Like, they could have. Like, here, you're on the call sheet for just this one day. We're doing bank heist, dinner, your goodbyes in the snow, maybe 2 days.
there's one part at the end where she's talking to the bank manager, played by Donald Moffat, and he asks her a question and she replies, and her mouth does not say what she's like. It's a totally ADR line. I can't remember what she says, but like I rewound it to watch her mouth, and she's saying something totally opposite, which I always love when that happens. I love bad ADR. It's like my favorite thing. But her mouth is going and saying something else. But right before that scene, she looks at the money that was delivered to the. First of all, why don't they just leave the money in the bank? They're so like tied to we have to get in the vault. Just put it outside the vault and get out. They actually leave the bank again with the money while the cops are coming. It's so stupid. But anyway, they put it in like neat little stacks for the priest to find and say it belongs to the town. And they sign it the Three Wise Men.
Yeah, they're not right.
It's so stupid. I just, when she read that and she had like tears in her eyes, the Three Wise Men, I was like, no, movie, don't do this. Yeah. No.
And that was a very fake tear, I think, as well. Because they cut back and there's a huge ball just waiting there, but like your eyes aren't red, like your other eye's not even watery.
Yeah, she had tear stick. She was, yeah, exactly. It was definitely fake. Yeah, it wasn't like Demi Moore in Ghost where she can like make one come down on cue.
Hey, that's a skill. Let's go to the bonus wheel though, and we'll have some fun with some of these questions. You ended up getting 4 points from the trivia, so. We'll have a little extra fun with the wheel. Okay. Which movie would you make this movie a crossover event with?
Like when you say crossover, do you mean like a double bill kind of thing, or like? No,
do you mean
I mean
combine? Like this movie is going to like join universes with another movie. So a good example that I've used for some other people is that we were doing The Phantom. And so we chose The Phantom and Indiana Jones because they're similar and they exist at similar times. But like, yeah. So what other movie universe would you like to see this bleed over into?
I'm going to stick with the snowy thing. I'm gonna have this in Fargo join forces.
Oh wow.
I want those cops coming after these guys with those accents. Yeah, I think that's gonna be good.
All right, I like that. It's gonna be intense. Somebody's going in the wood chipper. Hopefully it's John Lovitz.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't gonna answer, but then like when I saw the question, I was like, I have an answer for this, and so I'm gonna say Groundhog Day.
Oh, that's good.
And they are time loop trapped.
Yeah, and the woman from the bank, the bank manager's wife, is the hotel, the bed and breakfast lady from Groundhog Day.
There you go. And it's snowy. Yeah. A little rom-com action going on. I think, you could imagine that they're almost the same town. I think it's Philadelphia too, is it not?
Yeah. Paradise and
Puxatawny.
Right? Yeah.
Close enough. Look at that. You just go next door. On the way down the river, they end up in Puxatawny, and then they are time loop trapped in Groundhog Day.
I wonder if that actress was like, I'll only work in Pennsylvania projects.
Right? She's like, if there's snow on the ground, count me in.
I'm there. Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we get off of the wheel. Okay. This is going to be maybe difficult for you, but if you have to defend this movie in a courtroom, what is your closing argument to the jury?
It would have to be Nicolas Cage centered. I would say something along the lines of, we were not blessed enough to see Nicolas Cage do as much outright comedy as we wanted over the years. He got a little self-serious at times. Not serious, but he was in more serious projects. So we should take it as, we should look at it as like an artifact of he was able to hold his own against 2 professional comedians and steal the movie. Just by his facial expressions, his mannerisms, the way he speaks. He's just as naturally funny in this movie in a way that the comedians aren't. I don't mean they're not funny at all. I just mean he's naturally funny in a way they aren't in this movie. They're pushing. He's not pushing as much, in my opinion.
Your Honor, Exhibit A, Nicolas Cage is here. So
yeah, he walks in and goes, "Thank you, Scott."
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. What brand would shamelessly sponsor this movie today?
It's funny that you said that because I was going to say there's a scene where he's like one of his kleptomania scenes, Dana Carvey in the movie, and he like the camera pans down, he's picking some up off the ground, and in the background you can see a jar of Chicken Tonight
What is that?
You know what that is?
It's like canned chicken or something, like chicken
It's
of the
a
sea.
ragu made a sauce, made these sauces that go with like cooked chicken. But the reason why you mainly know it is because it had like a very catchy jingle where people would walk around like chickens singing "I feel like chicken tonight." Definitely check that out. It's also a Simpsons. It's also a Simpsons joke if you type in Simpsons chicken tonight. So because Ragu made that, I say Ragu will sponsor the movie.
Well, oddly
Now,
enough, I
because
am
they're still
wearing
around.
a Simpsons t-shirt right now.
Oh, nice.
Because I knew I was like, oh yeah, we're doing this. Got to wear some Simpsons gear. All right. Last question off the wheel. You get to pick one character from this movie. What would they be posting on social media the morning after the events of the film?
Let's see. Machen Amyx character will be like, I know who did it. It's that asshole who stole all the pens and the gingerbread man off the tree. She's just like telling on him instantly. I don't know. That's a tough one. What do you think? I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's not like a young character in the film, so it's definitely going to be somebody on Facebook, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe the bank owner's wife posting Christmas pictures on Facebook.
Oh, she posts, invited this guy over and he used my whole gravy boat on his plate, the entire gravy boat. Which
I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, it's disgusting.
I thought it was funny too, because Dana Carvey decides to make a character choice that's consistent throughout the whole movie, that he's like obsessed with scallions. He keeps bringing up, he's eating the scrapple. He's like, it's got scallions. And then when he's pouring the gravy, he's like, look, scallions. Like, he's so excited about it. And he empties that is funny that he empties the entire gravy boat on his plate.
Well, he's been in prison and he's like, the one thing I miss, scallions.
Yeah.
Home cooking. Okay. Well, let's do more or less. So you just tell me one thing that you want more of in the film, one thing that you want less of in the film.
I want more Machen Amyx. For sure. She doesn't really get used enough, and it's just a bad character. I don't know. I feel bad for her. But it's a big studio movie. She probably got paid well, whatever. I'm not gonna. But then one thing I want less of is I want none of the deputies. John Ashton and whoever that other guy is. I just don't even think we need another set of bad guys or coming after him. So, and I don't think they're funny, and they keep trying to make like his joke is that he just spits the like dip everywhere. Like that's, I don't know. Yeah, let's say less of them. Less of them.
Okay, that's fair. I think I would want more big comedy choices. Like if the movie wants to be a slapstick comedy, be a slapstick comedy, and less traditional Christmas movie stuff that we know is going to happen, right?
Yes. And and I'm not usually a big slapstick person, but I totally agree with you on that. I think that's the moment that works so well in the movie. It needs more of that. And less trying to like, let's get the Home Alone crowd or like get the It's a Wonderful Life turnaround. Yeah, we don't need, make it subversive if you're going to do that. I mean, it already starts out that way. So just it's like they lost their nerve a little bit.
Yeah, could be. You're sending dailies back. If they were going to send a studio exec to tell Dana Carvey to stop doing the Mickey Rourke accent, I wouldn't be surprised if like the studio was very heavy-handed in how they approached the micromanagement of the film. It's like, look, we're looking for a sort of traditional, successful Christmas movie, and you guys are being too weird.
Yeah, we don't want weird. Okay. Well, then why'd you hire us? Yeah.
And in hindsight, weird would have been better because this became just like a forgotten thing. And, if it's not us talking about it right now, like I said, I haven't seen anybody talk about this movie at all in all of my time on social media. So
same.
I think it's fair to say that nobody really cared that this movie got made.
Like I posted that I was watching it on Twitter, and I think I got like 3 comments like, oh yeah, that movie. Like, People don't think about this movie.
They don't. And I mean, in fairness, okay, maybe you shouldn't. But if you do like Nicolas Cage, I think
it's
worth
watching. Yeah. If you like him, it's worth
checking out
watching. Yeah.
For sure.
I'd say
Okay. Well, let's go to Critics Corner because we already know that it's going to be bad. So we might as well rip the Band-Aid off. We've got a 31 overall. So obviously bad. We start at the bottom with a 0, the elusive 0. And this is from the Austin Chronicle. Steve Davis says, interminably unfunny, this holiday offering about how the 3 Firpo brothers learned the true meaning of Christmas from the inhabitants of the quaint small town whose bank they've robbed is something of a crime itself.
Yeah. Since he mentioned it, it's like, I feel like even the use of the last name Firpo is like kind of, they're trying to be funny. Like, let's just do a weird name, like, you know what I mean? Like just something that sounds weird to the ear. So it's like, you'll get a laugh when they say Mr. Firpo, you know what I mean? So, but yes, was his name Steve, that reviewer?
Yes, Steve.
I think he's a little bit harsh on it. I'm more in the middle on it than I am like, this is a crime against everyone. They should be locked up for it. But
he's like, look, I was going in for a Christmas movie and I got this and I feel offended. But
it sounds like he didn't even laugh at the getaway scene, which I thought was funny.
Didn't. No, he said this is a crime. But we'll go up one notch, and this is a 12. And it's your boy. This is Roger Ebert from the Chicago Sun-Times. We had a great streak, honestly. There was like 6-7 movies in a row where the highest score on the board was Ebert. And I was like, every time I was like, yeah, we finally got him to come around. And now back at the bottom with a 12 out of 100. So that's less than a half a star on his scale. It's like
probably maybe
a quarter star.
Yeah.
Okay. So Raj says it should be preserved by the Library of Congress as an example of creative desperation. It plays like a documentary about a group of actors forced to perform in a screenplay that contains not one single laugh or moment of wit or flash of intelligence or reason for being. So, well, I don't necessarily disagree with him that much. And while he's being insulting, I actually value what he's saying about it because he's like, it's watchable for the reasons that it misfires.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's wrong. He's not wrong that it definitely feels like studio interference. Like we were saying, it feels like micromanaged. Yeah, I did get more laughs out of it than he did, but I know what he's saying. It feels like they pulled their punches with it in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, hey, we can't do the thing that we want.
And the actor desperation line, that's the one that I forgot. You really feel in some of the scenes when they go on and on that the actors are like, how do we get out of this? Like, we got to land a laugh soon. Like it's, we've been talking and nothing's happened. Like,
yeah, one of the quotes I didn't pull was from Lovitz, and I think I might be misquoting, but bear with me. I'm paraphrasing. He said that the production was so troubled that they had taken to calling the film on set trapped in bullshit. So wouldn't really be surprised if,
oh my God,
yeah, there was a lot of issues behind the scenes. And even when I was reading, trying to find production notes on this, nothing. And usually, I have to condense the production notes from a few minutes into 30 seconds. And with this, it was grasping at straws to try to find anything. So, yeah, it seems like they didn't like it. And that clip that I played where Dana Carvey's talking about wanting to shoot on the soundstage, but the horse demanded that they do it outdoors. I think he's obviously being very tongue in cheek about none of us want to be out here in the freezing cold, but the fucking horse had to be in the movie. So.
Right. That gives the Nicolas Cage interview a little bit of a new wrinkle too. It's he's like, we're having a good time together because we're bonding over how terrible we think this movie is.
And even his quote in that interview is he's saying yeah, it's super cold outside, but when I have a glass of hot apple cider, it makes everything better. And it's does it though? Some hot apple cider, on a 16-hour filming day when the director is not really participating.
Yeah, the director's y'all just do what you want. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll trust you guys because I don't have a vision. Anyway, we're going to go to another Chicago paper. And this is This is a 25 out of 100. This is Jonathan Rosenbaum from the Chicago Reader. Says, if Frank Capra had directed The Three Stooges in a Disney Christmas release, the results would have been considerably better than this god-awful Fox comedy by writer, producer, director George Gallo.
I kind of like that, actually. That's not a bad line. I mean, I agree. It would have been better.
Yeah.
Every line of every element that he put in works better than what's in this. But I don't think I would disagree with the god awful part. It's not a successful movie. But it isn't like awful. Like, I don't think it's terrible. I wouldn't mind watching it again someday, maybe, but it'll be a while.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
I would say it's bad in like the most unfortunate kind of ways, where it's just very like, like it's not a, oh my God, it's not like The Room, right? Where like it's so bad that every decision is now like, oh my God, we have a fan base because of how every decision is upside down. This is like, for the most part, a competently made but poorly executed, poorly articulated vision. So yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with Rosie there. All right. Yeah. Let's see. We've got 4 40s on the board. And so you can choose between the New York Times, TV Guide magazine, or the Washington Post.
New York Times.
Janet Maslin gave it a 40.
I like Janet. Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, I follow her on Twitter. She's a good reviewer. She hates everything that we do on the show, but
fair enough.
Yeah, I understand. Anyway, she says, since Trapped in Paradise assembles 3 actors as amusing as Cage, Carvey, and Lovitz, it's a minor holiday miracle that this homey comedy barely elicits even a chuckle.
They weren't as got by The Getaway as I was, apparently.
Yeah, she's like, maybe that got her, and that was it.
It is kind of shocking this movie is from the same guy who wrote Midnight Run, because that movie is so funny and so clever and good at what it's doing that it's kind of interesting to see. Like, you wonder if he knew that he'd written like a script that wasn't very good, because he's like so hands off with. He's like, I didn't want to touch this thing. I know it's going to be compared to Midnight Run. It's not even that league, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's it's a high bar, but yeah, I'm just saying, like, this movie should have taken the gloves off and been like, let's really be a weird Christmas movie instead of, we're trying to be a Christmas movie in the sense of so many other Christmas movies, right?
Because Charles Grodin is weird in Midnight Run, and that's part of the ingredient that makes it work. So you're right. They should have just been weird.
Weird is fine. I get it that like the 90s were not about like necessarily, especially the early 90s were not really about like, let's do sort of weird experimental stuff in the mainstream and hope that it works out. Yeah. But yeah, this movie, I think, could have succeeded, or could have at least like earned itself a reputation beyond it landing in relative obscurity.
Yeah.
All right. We've got 50s, the highest score on the board. We got 4 50s. So again, you get to pick your poison. We got Washington Post, Variety, Time Out, and the Baltimore Sun.
Let's do Variety.
Variety. Okay, there's Todd McCarthy. He says,
I remember him too.
He says, an agreeable middle American comedy intent upon reviving old-fashioned virtues, George Gallo's second feature doesn't serve up the big yaks needed to make it a breakout sleeper. Yeah, I can't say I disagree.
Yeah, that's probably the one I would agree most with, because it's less vicious. It's the least vicious, but it kind of gets the point across. Like, it's not really getting the job done. In fits and starts, it kind of is, but not across the board. Yeah.
And a lot of the time when we read through the reviews, I'm like, I just don't agree with this person. That has not happened this entire time.
Yeah, even if we like the movie better, we know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
sure.
I can't approach it at all with like, oh man, these people just didn't like watch the same movie. I'm like, oh no, yeah, pretty spot on.
Yeah.
All right, well, so this is going to be an interesting challenge, because I want to know what you think a good gateway drug movie for this would be.
Okay, I think there's 2 ways to look at it that I did.
It's fair.
If you want a Nicolas Cage, you want to see Nicolas Cage do heartfelt but also weird as hell, you got to watch Peggy Sue Got Married.
Okay.
Which is a great movie, a Francis Ford Coppola movie where he is giving one of the strangest performances and accents possible, to the point where I think Coppola was pretty much, that's his uncle, was pretty much begging him not to. And he didn't, and he wouldn't. He like decided to do it. Kathleen Turner was like, I don't know what he's doing, but I don't like it. And he wouldn't stop. He's doing like an impression of Pokey from Gumby. I think that's what he like kind of pointed it out as. And it's kind of genius that it works the way it does in the movie. Like, but that I'd be like, anyway, but yeah, that's him being weird and out there and strange with his choices, but also somehow making it like tying it into funny, but also heartfelt. So that's on the one hand. The other hand, if you're looking for weird, kind of twisted Christmas movies, I would say Scrooged.
Yeah. Okay.
It's more supernatural than this is, but it has the edge that I think some of this stuff does, maybe more so the Cage stuff than the other brothers. You kind of need like a acerbic Christmas comedy to get you in the mood for something like this, maybe. Or what it's trying to be, at least. Doesn't really get there, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I was like trying to think, and there's one with Paul Giamatti and Paul Rudd. It's called All Is Bright, and they're like Christmas tree salesmen or something like that, but it involves a crook. It's like, it's two good actors. There's like a weird crime story. It's supposed to be like a dark Christmas thing. And it's similar to this in that, like, the main plot line isn't really like Christmas relevant, and it just should be ultimately better than it is, but the talent involved in the movie just like can't save it from what it ultimately like has to be. So, right. And it was one that I watched during that sort of not adjacent, but like non-popular Christmas movie stint I did a couple years ago. And I was like, even as much as I like these guys, I would say it's probably better than Trapped in Paradise as far as like getting closer to really like executing the idea, but still just, can't quite get over the hump.
I don't know that one. I'll have to look that up. I've never heard of that one.
You can send me the angry email later and be like, why did you suggest I watch this?
You said it was great. I heard you.
Hold on. Check the tape. But okay. So normally we do plugs here, and I'm still going to give you a chance to plug your Letterboxd or wherever you're talking about movies. But because it's the Christmas special, because this will end at the air, or it'll air at the end of the year pretty much. What is your favorite movie from 2025?
I have two that are kind of battling it out for the top spot. One Battle After Another, I think, is probably the best movie I've seen this year. It's sort of in like a league of its own, I would say, compared to most other movies. It's just, I mean, I've seen it 3 times. I like it more every time I've seen it. It's just, it's exciting. It's funny at times. It's very dark. It's got great performances. It's, just Paul Thomas Anderson's just so good at, and like the story is interesting the way he tells it, and like the avenue he takes to get you hooked into the story is different. Like, I appreciate different things about it every time I see it. Certain performances, like Tiana Taylor, she's great, and she has such a small amount of screen time at the beginning, but it casts such a long shadow over the rest of the movie. Sort of like I compared to like Mahershala Ali in Moonlight, like the way that performance kind of haunts the rest of the movie. Okay, so that's one. The other is Marty Supreme, which I was lucky to get to see early, and it's great, and it's basically it reminded me of Uncut Gems in a lot of ways.
No, well, that's good. I love Uncut Gems.
Right, I was like, this is where this was the Safdie I was looking for with the other. You know what I mean? Like, this is, if you split them up, you wonder which one. This is more in the vein of the Safdie stuff we're used to, like Good Time, Uncut Gems. It reminded me of After Hours in a way. It's like, it doesn't take place in one long night, but it's like kind of like a marathon of one thing after another that keeps snowballing on each other. Except it's like After Hours if that movie didn't care if you like the lead character or not. So it makes it also interesting because you're not always on board with the guy. It's great. Timothy Chalamet is great. Good performance. Like Odessa Zion is great. She's I guess she's in the mix for supporting actress this year, but that category is so packed that it's like hard to predict if anyone. She probably won't make it in because it's so full. But she's great. Gwyneth Paltrow is back in it, and she's really good. It's kind of good to see her back again and be like, oh yeah, she is a good actress. She's not just an entrepreneur.
She's not just a very annoying entrepreneur
who seems very out of touch in general with everything. Yeah, very out of touch, but she's a great actress. So she does. Yeah. So those would be my two that I've really latched onto this year.
Okay.
I'd say.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, Marty, haven't seen it. The Blimp was flying around LA last weekend. I was walking to breakfast, and I'm like, "What the fuck is that thing?" I was like, "Oh, that's what." I'm like, all right, this is an interesting viral marketing campaign and like, an industry town to fly the Blimp sort of over the lower Burbank, like Universal City area.
Yeah. Yeah. If that's interesting. I think you'll like it. If you liked Uncut Gems, and it's got great needle drops. It's a great movie. I really liked it.
The one that I'm looking forward to. Oh, that's the other question. Okay. So we've done that. Is there anything you're looking forward to? Or what is the thing that you are looking most forward to that you haven't maybe seen yet? I mean, granted, there's like 3 weeks left in the year, so it's a small sample size.
I mean, I'm an Avatar guy. I don't.
Oh, really? Interesting.
They're not my favorite movies, but I always have a great time when I go watch them. So I'm excited to see that in the 3D IMAX again. That's the way I've seen the other ones, the first one and the second one. So I'm excited to do that again. Yeah.
Okay.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to see it. Like, I don't love the franchise, but I'm not going to not see it. And I like James Cameron for the most part. I probably will enjoy myself, especially if I'm like, yeah, let me do the 3D IMAX and go all in on Pandora here. So, yeah.
On a smaller note, too, I was going to say, I'm excited for the Jim Jarmusch movie that hasn't been released yet. I guess technically it's from this year, but it's called Father, Mother, Sister, Brother. It's got Cate Blanchett and Adam Driver and a bunch of. Got a big cast, and he's done movies like this before where Jim Jarmusch tells different vignettes together. And this one I think is like 3 separate stories, kind of like his movie Mystery Train which took place in Memphis, that I love. So I'm excited to see that because I usually really like his movies. I didn't love like The Dead Don't Die, but I like most of his movies. And this one seems like a little bit less silly than that one. So I'm excited for that.
I saw a trailer for it maybe a few months ago, and that was like the only time that I had seen a trailer. But I do love Adam Driver, and I feel like he is the guy who is going to be like the torchbearer for the Nicolas Cage type of actor. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I will see anything that Adam Driver does pretty much because I feel like he's always going to approach it from an angle that interests me, but really No Other Choice is the one that I'm good. Yeah. Everybody's seen it but me, apparently.
It's really good.
It's like,
you'll like it.
Well, it was either 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock on that December 8th day. And I was like, well, do I want to sit front row in IMAX at 10 o'clock at night? No. And so I was like, all right, I'll deal with it and I'll see it when it comes out on Christmas. But I felt like Decision to Leave was my favorite movie of that year. So I was like, I'm confident that I will enjoy it. And it's gotten really good word of mouth from everybody that I do know that has seen it. And so I'm like, yes, I'm so happy for you. And then on the inside, I'm just like, no.
This Decision to Leave is one I know I need to watch again because I hear things like what you're saying about it, and I know I liked it, but I think I need another watch. I don't think something didn't click for me the first time the way I wanted to. So I'm just willing to try it again. I need to try it again. I think this No Other Choice is kind of more funny, but it's dark. It's a dark comedy for sure. But I think you'll enjoy. I think you'll have a good time. The actors are really good in it too. The main two are great. Yeah, the husband and wife. So,
well, because like somebody had asked me the other day, like, what are my top 10 movies of the year? I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I haven't thought about it this whole time. I was like, I know the ones that I enjoyed, but I was like, I honestly don't know. So I was like, because I don't know. But yes, One Battle After Another is great. I mean, even my wife, she really loved it as well. And most of the time when we go to the movies together, it's like either we're seeing a movie that I want to see or we're seeing a movie that she wants to see. And so one of us is sort of having to like extend a little bit more into the others' like taste preferences. But with this one, I was like, I want to see it. She likes Leo, so we watched it, and both of us really enjoyed that one. So that's usually a pretty good like indicator that it's palatable for a wide audience, and we can both like it.
Yeah, Benicio is sweeping the Critics Awards for supporting actor.
Is he really? Okay,
he's winning. He's winning everything, which is a little surprising to me because I think Sean Penn is the performance of that movie.
I mean, I agree.
I think he's great, but I mean, Benicio's good, but I mean, he's very good. But it's just
more fun. But,
he's more fun. I think people are falling for I like his character more. He's more memeable.
You're supposed to.
He's right. He's more memeable. He's more giftable. I don't like Sean Penn's character, so I'm going to vote for the guy I liked. I think people are falling for that a little bit, but whatever. Either way,
I think it's one of the best performances of Sean Penn's career.
Oh,
especially his late career.
100%. Yep. Yeah. People take Sean Penn for granted. I know he's not the most popular human in the world, but he's such a great actor. I think people really take him for granted sometimes. The stuff he's doing,
and I think without a villain like him in that movie, it's not that the rest of the movie doesn't work, but it makes sort of like the line in the sand so clear.
Yeah.
And he is the line in the sand, and he's very, very good. So I hope that at least like he'll pick up maybe one of these, or I haven't seen what the nominations look like or anything, and it's like, I'm not going to hold my breath, but don't sleep on Sean Penn's performance.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, since we're talking movies, where can people find you talking movies? You want to plug your letterbox or anything else?
Sure. I post movie related. It's either movies or The Simpsons or tennis stuff. On Twitter, I still call it Twitter at Cole, Scott. That's my name spelled out with the word comma in the middle. And then I'm on Blue Sky actually at Scott Cole or Scott.Cole. I actually got in on Blue Sky early, so I actually got my name on Blue Sky, which was nice. I was too late for Twitter to get Scott Cole. But anyway. And then Letterboxd, this is so confusing because they're all different. Letterboxd is SS Cole 929, but just go to my Twitter and there's a link to my Letterboxd. I actually do keep a running list of everything I see throughout the year ranked, so it makes this part of the year easier because I've been ranking them since the beginning. Where it gets hard is when you have like 22-star movies that you're like, what do I like better than the other? I don't remember 2-star movies from April that well. So like, how do I know? So at the bottom of the list, it gets more just like throw it wherever you feel. But like the top 10, top 20 is pretty solid, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on what I think were the best movies, but then that's also not the same thing as the movies that are my favorite movies of the year. So sometimes like I would say there's usually 30 to 50% crossover, but then sometimes I just like a weird thing that I want to like. And I'm like, I can't help it. Like Begonia, right? I think it's up my alley in all the ways that it is supposed to be. And it's weird. And I get that people don't like Yorgos and him being weird. Like they don't like him when he's too weird, right? Like Kinds of Kindness. People didn't like that. I love Kinds of Kindness. I don't know why. It's just weird.
It's a great movie. People, it was way underrated. It's a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like something like that. Like I don't hear Begonia really like talked about in like the best of. Like obviously everybody loves Emma and Jesse, and I think rightfully so. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's probably if I'm talking about like my favorite movies of the year, it's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah. It's probably. I mean I didn't like it as much as some of the other Yorgos movies that I've really loved over the past couple of years, but I liked it a lot, and it's definitely in like my top 25 or 30. Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, I think I've been doing so much more watching of things for the show specific purposes that I've gone to the theaters a lot less. So I don't even know how many movies from this year I've seen. Usually, like the last couple of years, it's been like 150 to like 200 range of the stuff that is coming out in a calendar year. I know I'm definitely below that mark now, but I honestly don't know. But I don't know. Like I had the opportunity to go to the theater the other day, and I'm like, I've heard Zootopia 2 is great. Don't really care. And then I will see it, but I'm not like, oh, I want to go see this movie. And that's happened a lot to me this year. Is like the stuff that I want to see is like just outside of my grasp or has left. Like If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, right? Like I just missed it because I was sick And so I didn't go out, and I had family in town the week before. So it was like 3 weeks where I wasn't going to the movies, and I missed a bunch of stuff in that. And then I went and saw 100 Nights of Hero, which I liked. But also, like, there just wasn't a lot of other stuff that I hadn't seen that I wanted to see. Like, do I want to see Now You See Me, Now You Don't 3?
Now You 3 Me?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I guess maybe, like, if I burn through all my other options, then yeah, I'll go see it kind of thing. But it's been a weird year like that. So when I get to the end of the actual year of all the stuff that I want to see, then maybe I'll have a better grasp on it. But we'll see.
Well, lucky for you, a lot of the stuff you don't have to wait very long. I think If I Had Legs is now streaming. And it's my number 3 of the year, by the way. It's a great
okay, that's good. All right.
She is the performance of the year, better than anybody I've seen all year.
That's what I've heard.
She should win everything. She's great.
From Rose, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I look forward to seeing it whenever I get a chance. And cool. Well, thank you for coming on the show and talking about a movie you didn't like that much, but
no, but I had fun watching it though. At least for that one part, that was awesome. Yeah, I was having a good time watching that. I was laughing pretty hard. I'm not an easy laugh in movies. Like, I'll smile and chuckle to myself kind of, but I don't like laugh a lot watching movies. I don't know why, but that one that got me pretty good.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
I appreciate having that experience around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Merriment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the Christmas spirit, and cool. Well, we'll get something else on the books in the future. I'm sure there's a lot of other 1994 movies that are ripe for reappraisal.
Yeah. I can send you I'll just shoot you a list.
Your letterbox list of 1994 favorites.
Yes, that people that weren't critically popular, but that I enjoyed. Yes, I can do that.
Cool. Sounds good, man.
All right, man. Thanks for having me again.
Thanks to Scott for once again stepping up to the plate and coming on the show for the Christmas special. It was particularly interesting to go back and look at this movie now, having just recently completed the first round of NicVember. But it also does reaffirm that my dedication to the Nick Cage month was a good idea, and I'm excited to get into part 2 of that in 2026. The link to Scott's socials and Letterboxd will be up in the show notes, so if you want to reach out to him and get a grasp on what other 1994 movies he has up his sleeve, that's the way to do it. And of course, thank you to everyone out there who pushed play and decided to listen to this episode. Whether or not it's on Christmas, doesn't really matter, but I just want to thank you all for being part of what makes Bad Movies We Love such an enjoyable experience for me. I'll be back with at least 1, if not 2 episodes before the end of the year, but I do want to take a moment to just wish you all a very safe and happy holiday season, and I look forward to bringing you more Bad Movies We Love in 2026. So until next time, stay safe, be well, and have fun however you get your movies.